You're tuned in to the Dating Mechanic Show. I am your host, Alicia Bennett, the Dating Mechanic. And today we have a special story for you because our guest today is Dashielle and Acire Moore. Acire is a licensed cosmetologist and esthetician. Dashielle is a master plumber. And yeah, we're not going to play that down today. Master plumber. And Acire is also the owner of Bonnie Allure Beauty, which is kind of how I got introduced to her on social media. And then we started getting into some other things like the children and all of that. But they have been married for 2 years. So even though they're newlyweds, they've been together for 7. And it's a different world when you are married versus, when you are just together. And so we're going to talk about that today and some of the difficulties that they've had to overcome as being newlyweds. And we're going to do that right after these messages. Thank you for tuning in to the Dating Mechanic Show. Don't forget to check out our ice cream. No, not that ice cream, but ice massage cream. Our Silky Shea formula not only soothes and relaxes, but also keeps your skin deeply moisturized. It's perfect for those intimate massage sessions with your partner or simply as a luxurious self-care treat. Want to support the show? You can purchase Ice Massage Cream easily on Amazon or just head over to thedatingmechanic.com.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, turn on your ears and open up your heart because dating each other out here today is definitely a fine art. So, to get us off to a great start, please welcome the one and only dating mechanic herself, Miss Alicia Bennett.
Welcome back. Our show today is about trust, growth, and healing together and how to navigate a relationship and all of its challenges. I'm here today with Dashielle and Acire Moore, and I'm happy to have y'all here, first of all.
Appreciate you having us.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm happy because there's not a lot of people that want to come and talk about the tough.
Oh.
Like, they want to come on the show and they want to talk about all of the great things that they're doing.
Yeah.
And we're all doing great things.
Yeah.
But as we know, social media and real life is two different things.
Absolutely.
Two different worlds, right?
Right.
And so people get to see on social media a lot of the good things that we're doing and how our relationship is perfect on the outside.
Right.
But they don't get to, be home with us when the problems are there and when we're going through difficult situations. And so, first of all, I want to say, like I said, thank you for being here.
Thank you for
having us. Absolutely. But I don't even want to stall it. Like, let's just get into the thing.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yes, rip it all off. I know that we were talking about a situation where a new situation where you guys had to go through some marriage counseling in order to overcome. Tell us about that situation.
Oh,
You want to go first?
You got it, Papa. Go ahead.
I feel like we kind of came to a point in our relationship where we felt like we needed like some third party assistance, some outside help because I guess we've never really had too many issues as far as communication. Like we both are pretty straight shooters. She doesn't mind speaking her mind. I'm going to tell it how I'm going to tell it. But we needed, I guess, like I said, some professional help, maybe some extra tools, maybe to kind of get over, I guess, small hurdles or bumps that are small miscommunications that we were having. It really helped, though, because we actually got to speak on things that we thought that we were probably getting across, but my partner wasn't like understanding it. So I think therapy really helped with that.
Oh, good. I like it's any type of therapy or counseling for
Right.
your marriage where, it's going to be helpful, especially with communication issues. Sometimes we could be in sync and then something happens, a situation happens, and then we get out of sync. You've been together now have you been together for 7 years, or you were together 7 years prior and then you've been married for 2?
So we've been together all together 7 years.
Okay. So for 7 years, you haven't had too much of communication issues because you've been together for 7 years, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but then recently some things happened in your relationship. So tell me a little about that.
I feel like I was really heavy into getting therapy, right? So I previously discussed this, and I talk about it all the time. I am a prior military. I did 10 years in the Army. 2018, I ended up having to medically retire out of the military. And after being in 10 years, being in since I was 19 years old, like, it was a very, very, like, hard transition for me. And on top of that, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So even though I was getting money from the VA for, like, disability. It was really, really hard for me. Like, what's my purpose? Who am I? And I felt like I fell into like a serious depression and went through this phase of denying that I had mental illness, the whole flushing the pills down the toilet, the whole, like, I don't have this, I feel great, I'm fine. Just a whole whirlwind of things, to the point where I felt like it wasn't fair for anyone to have to deal with me unhinged. So I was in therapy, like, heavy all the time, and taking my medication like I was supposed to, because I was, like, committed to healing. Past traumas from childhood, everything. And I feel like somewhere along the way, my healing started to speed up even more. And it caused a rift in our relationship, because he was the type of guy who's like, I'm never going to therapy. Like, I'm fine. And, that's not
It's a thing. It's a thing.
He was like, I'm never going to therapy. I'm fine. But I felt like, as I began to grow, as I became a business owner, as I started walking into my purpose, I felt like he felt like I was going to leave him behind, in a sense. Or he felt like I didn't progress as much in the amount of time that we've been together. So how do we connect now? Seemingly, it seemed like it came out of nowhere to me for this issue to occur, but he told me, I've been feeling like this for a while, and then he decided, like, we should go to therapy, and I'm going to go to therapy because I've hit my glass ceiling, but I'll let him tell you that part.
She'll let you tell about how you came upon, it's time for me now to do some healing of my own.
Well, like she was saying, a good portion in the beginning, she was going through her healing experience. So I felt like at that time, it was my duty to kind of help foster an environment to where she can heal, she can, be herself, find out what she wants to do, find her passion, adjust to the life of being a civilian, outside of the Army, you know what I'm saying? You're not having someone direct and give you orders every day. You kind of have, you're in the real world, you kind of have to figure out what you want to do, right? So like I said, like she was saying, once she kind of got in a space where she figured out what she wanted to do and she was progressing more, I guess I then had a little more time to kind of start thinking about, I guess, what was going on internal with me, and then all the things I was kind of like keeping in the back of my head or keeping on the back burner for the sake of, like I said, just fostering that healthy environment, that safe environment for her. So I guess in a sense, I kind of was starting to focus, more, like I said, on my issues, my traumas, or my shortcomings, my feelings of self-worth and things like that. My childhood traumas and, how I grew up and, how that's affecting my relationship now, with her. So yeah, that's how I kind of got to the space of like, I need some more help, for sure. Cause I heard someone say you can't like heal in the same mind, So yeah, definitely needed some third party assistance for sure.
So I love, first of all, that you're an advocate for men going to therapy. And yeah, that's a whole being an advocate for men doing that, because especially as Black men, we don't grow up with that type of image where an outside party helps. We keep everything on the inside. Nobody needs to know our business type situation. And so we're holding all of these feelings and emotions in, and we're not able to express them properly.
Right.
And then they manifest it in different areas in different ways in our lives. And it doesn't always have to be anger. It can be different things. But realizing, and I tell people this all the time, you can't be your partner's everything.
Right.
You just can't, because they have to be able to grow and think on their own. But I think we have a little bit of trouble with that in relationships. We want to control everything that happens within the relationship. And you being the sweet man that you are, you were trying to be your wife's comfort zone.
Right.
You were trying to make sure that she was all
Put
right.
the S on the chest.
Yes. But in
And
the
you
same,
did that, okay?
yes.
You did.
But in the
that.
same token, you were suffering.
Right.
So, first of all, what would you say to other men out there that are putting the S on their chest for their lady and they're not taking care of themselves?
I would say, first, start talking to your significant other. Start trying to open up more to them. Start being a little more vulnerable. Start having those hard conversations. It can be as simple as she likes to ask, "How was your day?" Instead of just giving, "Oh, it's all right. I don't want to talk about it because it's work." You know what I mean? If something really pissed you off that day, go ahead and be vulnerable. Tell her about it. Share how you feel, because you're more than likely your significant other. She's going to share how she's feeling with you. So you kind of owe it to them to be vulnerable. So I guess that's kind of a step towards talking about how we're feeling and whatnot. And then obviously going to therapy. It doesn't have to be an extensive 6 months to a year. It could be
We were there for 3 months.
3-4 sessions.
And then they kicked us out.
It could be like 3-4 sessions. It varies depending on our upbringing, whatever trauma or whatever our mental stability is. But like I said, it don't have to take a bunch of sessions. It can take 3-4 sessions and just go talk to someone. Get it out. Kind of hear another opinion. Kind of hear someone else out. So yeah.
And like you said, it's different. You don't have to be in therapy for years in order to, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to overcome every single issue or trauma that you had for your whole life.
Absolutely.
Man, 40 years old that is a lot of, and I'm not saying y'all 40, I'm just saying I'm over 40.
I'm almost.
Oh, okay. We look good, girl. We look good. So over 40, that's a lot of years and a lot of traumatic things that could have happened in our lives. And to try to do therapy to get rid of all those traumatic things, it's a lot. But you take one thing at a time.
Right.
And I feel like for us, as far as therapy was concerned, I feel like once you wait until things are like really down the toilet, it's already too late. Because I feel like once you start resenting a person and you put that stain on your marriage or on your relationship, it's hard to unresent somebody. Like, I feel like once I decide, me personally, in my mind, that I don't like something, it just grows after that. So I feel like when there's an issue, just take up behind it. We got Tricare. Okay, take her behind the Tricare and tell us that we need to be re-enrolled again before it becomes a molehill or a mountain instead of a molehill. So I feel like we got in front of the issues because we just decided like, hey, this is unprecedented in our relationship, so we need to go now.
And we were always committed to doing the work, and I'll say that's a big thing too. When you're committed to someone, it ain't just about being committed physically, like not cheating or giving yourself emotionally to someone else. Being committed is I'm committed to bettering our relationship. I'm committed to fixing the problems when there is a problem. I'm not just going to give up, tuck tail run. You actually got to put in the work, put in some effort, and dig deep and actually try to fix the issue, before we just throw in the towel, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love when men speak positively about relationships and there's a man sitting watching this or listening to this and they needed that to hear that from another man. You know, they needed to hear a man say, "No, stick it in there. You can do this. It takes work." You know, we just work it every day.
You work all them hours at work, you know, at your 9 to 5, you can put in a little bit of time, you know, at the
Just a
house
little bit of
with your
effort.
lady. So that's
Absolutely.
all.
Absolutely.
And it'd be the smallest thing. Like, he might bring me a little chocolate from the store, or just like, hey, I'm thinking about you, or whatever. It'd be the smallest thing, you know, that warms the oven up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's the smallest things. And
oven.
the oven, Bookie. So, but I'm just saying, like, it'd be the smallest things. And I feel like with most women, we just want to know that we're a thought and not an afterthought. So I just feel like it'd be the smallest things. And if you do a lot of little things, you don't have to go do this big thing.
Right. To make up for all the little time.
Things. Because like I said, this is just me personally. I don't know if any other woman is like this, but once my mind is like, that's it. It's hard for me to, you know what I'm saying?
You have to do so much.
Right.
To get yourself to a place of either liking that person or wanting to have sex with that person, whatever it is, you have to muster that up.
And he doesn't understand this. Like, while you're speaking about that, like, he doesn't understand this. I've been married before, and I shared with you, like, you know, that I was in a domestic violence situation, and I was just not my health. I hit him, he hit me. We did crazy things to each other, but I felt like this was my crazy and this was his crazy, but that's neither here nor there. But that affected how I interacted with him. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like you just kind of have to get to a space to say, like, if one of us is wrong or we're trying to win, then somebody loses. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? And I want to be happy all the time.
Absolutely. That's one thing. If we keep the main thing, right? You want to be happy or you want to be right. It's like it's the whole thing. Like, I don't want to fight no more. I don't want to. It's not even about that. So you talked about being diagnosed with bipolar.
Yes.
When did you find out in the relationship that you were bipolar? When were you diagnosed?
When was I? Okay, so I was diagnosed prior to getting out of the military, right? But so in my family, it runs rapid on both. Mental illness runs on both sides, right?
Okay.
I grew up with a parent who was bipolar, and that's another whole story. But there was a lot of trauma associated with that. And then it's just like, man, if I have this, then I'm going to be just like him. I said parent, and then I said him, God. So I'm going to be just like him. So I wanted to disassociate myself as much as possible. So I was in like denial about it. But there's a sense of feeling out of control and you don't know what's going on. You feel out of control. You know what I'm saying? Like, why on certain periods or times do I feel out of control? Now, I feel like it really showed its head in my last marriage, because I felt like it's a like nature versus nurture situation. And I felt like we were both bringing the worst out of each other. So I felt like that's when it was heightened. And I probably should have known then, but of course I was going to be in denial about it. So I was diagnosed probably like 2017.
Okay. So in your previous marriage?
I feel like I've probably had it my whole like adult life.
Right.
It's just, you know, when you're in an okay environment, it doesn't rear its head as much, or the symptoms and things aren't that bad. And then just in the Black community, the stigma around mental health. Because I feel like people look at you and like they think mental health is someone who looks strung out or crazy all the time. But no, this is mental health. This is mental health, and I'm still fabulous. So yeah.
Absolutely.
I kind of like, now that I have it more under control, it's more or less my superpower, because with me being an entrepreneur, it just kind of helps it, you know, my mind doesn't shut off or whatever. It just kind of helps me achieve and reach bigger.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that she was bipolar before you started dating her, or while you started dating her? When
Yeah,
did the
she told me.
conversation? Okay, she told you
She
right
told
away.
me she like I said, she's straight. She's an open book. From the moment we actually met, she pretty much laid out everything, her life. She's like I said, an open book. She didn't really hold anything back. So, you know.
And when he says open book, everything that I did and everything that the person did, it's not just like my perspective. I was
Right.
very objective, subjective, whichever one means that it's not objective yet.
Yeah.
So I was very objective. So I just wanted him
She
to be able to make
she admitted her faults.
I wanted you
yeah.
to be able to make an informed decision on
Right.
whether you wanted to put yourself in here or not. Because I was probably more of a
It was by choice, not force. Yeah.
So it was a choice. I didn't want to act
choice.
sweet because I feel like you can only keep the mask on for so long before all of the, the hair starts showing. So I just, before the gray hair starts showing, so I just really, really wanted him to know, like, this is me.
Right.
The way that I am. But to be fair, I felt like he never really put me in a position to, like, you could see the mental health issue, but it became more subtle over time. You see what I'm saying? So he ain't never really seen Kira, like, he hears stories, but he ain't never seen it for himself.
Okay. So what would you say, what's different in this relationship? And we know the domestic violence right off the bat is something different. But what is something different about this relationship that keeps that calm and that side of you doesn't have to come out in that way?
Because we're friends first. We're like the best of friends. Like, this is my homie for real. Like, if I shut the rest of the world out, it's like someone that you never get tired of. I feel like we both have our things, right? Like, my husband is more of a recluse. Sometimes he doesn't like to be bothered, and I'm okay with that. It might come off as cold to some, but to me, that's my boo. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I ain't friendly.
right. But basically, he's not friendly.
But he is. But it's a total opposite of who and what I am. I feel like there's a genuine understanding each other. Yeah, a genuine understanding of each other. Like, I feel like most people want to be understood and loved in spite of, you know what I'm saying?
Their faults.
And their faults. And he still understands me and he still loves me. Like, you know what I'm saying? No matter what any of y'all tell him that I did, whatever, he still loves me real bad. So it does not matter. And there's power in that in itself. So, and then for him, he just keeps me calm. Like, the first day we met, like the first time we met, I've always been a meaner person, a meaner and a more masculine woman. And I'm just calm. I don't do no not traditional women things anymore.
Okay. But what keeps you, because I mean, I'm only seeing you for the first time, but it doesn't seem like he carries that that big masculine presence. You know how some people, they just,
I'm already,
you know what I mean?
I'm already big, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
but they carry
But
that.
when he speaks, people listen.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? He's not one of those guys that are going to be loud, rah-rah, be trying to fight folk and stuff like that. And like, I'm a man, you need to respect me. And you need to da-da-da-da-da. So
he speaks when he needs to speak.
He speaks when he needs to speak, and he's never on some trying to control me. He's not trying to dim my light. He's not trying to like tone me down. He's not trying to do none of that. And just that, if he tells me not to do something or say something, I'll respect it all day, because he ain't even that type of guy that's like, you better not do this. I'll be like, I'm 35.
Right.
Yeah.
But because he is who he is and he's understanding, you're able to, if he says, hey, this is not right, or this is
not
something
a good idea, or tell me to calm down, or you don't need to do all that. It ain't got to be like that. But like, relax. Most times someone tells me relax, it's like I'm going to get amped up even more. Right. Told me to relax, but when he says relax, it's like, okay, I'm relaxing now. And that respect is earned over time. That trust, there's a big amount of trust there. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you've created this space where you guys can now grow emotionally and in this space, how do you maneuver around there? So like, for instance, someone's not having a great day and their emotions are high. How do you, not just the calm down, you doing too much, but how do you nurture that space where it's just love in that space? So you know how you just said you have a friendship. So forget marriage and forget the relationship in the world and whatever's happening. At the end of the day, your foundation is friendship, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So how do you create that space where it's just safe? Because there are a lot of people in their marriage, they don't feel safe. They don't feel like they can talk to their partner. They don't feel like they can express their emotions or any of that. Now, you've gone to therapy to help with that, right? But how do you create that space, that safe space with your partner?
I feel like we learn in therapy that timing is everything. So if he's coming in the house and he didn't work, and they be working, my man, okay? So he come in the house and he been working, he tired. I'm not going to bombard him with every single problem. Always ask permission before you dump or want to, like, do you have the capacity to hear this right now?
Absolutely.
And that's with any friendship, anything. I feel like you should ask people permission before you dump your problem, because they might already be having a bad day. So that's the biggest thing we learn in therapy. And then trusting that the person is going to listen to hear you and not respond. And I feel like just understanding, even if I don't agree with what he says or he doesn't agree with what I said, just like, hey, I want to hear you out. And I'm going to acknowledge your feelings just because I love you and I don't want you to feel this way.
Unheard.
And then I think too is knowing how your partner like approaches issues or how they deal with being. So she's a little more proactive. She's like in the moment, like it has to be taken care of right then and there. When there's an issue, I need to sit down, reflect, take me some time, think about everything, process everything. Then I can come, with a solution or whatever. I can come back and hear you out. So I guess like she says, sometimes I need a little bit of time to myself to unwind or to process things, and then like, okay, I can tell you what's wrong, or I can tell you how my day went, or we can talk about this issue that we're having. Versus her, she has to, like I said, she needs to. You have to pretty much be prompt about your actions, or prompt about getting to a solution, because she has to take care of it immediately. It's not something.
So how do you deal with that? Because
it caused it. I used to get very angry, but if you tell me like, hey, because it came off as, in the times that we did argue, it would come off as like nonchalant, and that would it would make me madder, because I'm just like, oh, he's going to go cool off. We're supposed to be having a conversation right now. My thought process is, let's do this. Let's knock it out of the way so we can get back to being lovey-dovey with each other, right? And his thought process is, I need to sit and talk and think it through. And you know what I'm saying? Neither process is wrong. Once I realize that, like, neither way is wrong. But of course, and vice versa, you're like, why you gotta address everything right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need time, and I might not say the best things. But
if we do it now, you're not gonna like what I say.
But then there's waiting too long, and then you're just drawing it out.
And I'm just like, I'm getting madder. I'm just getting madder.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I'm just gonna sit up there and just get madder.
Right.
I feel like if you tell your partner like, hey, this I need to cool off or whatever, and I'm
a specific amount of time,
and then we're gonna come back and revisit the issue. Then that's better, because now my anxiety is not spiked, my mind is not wandering. We also learned this thing in therapy called the leveling position, right? Where you sit like this, and then they sit across from you, and you hold hands, and you like look each other in the eye. It's like really hard to cut somebody out if y'all are holding hands and sitting knee to knee. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Because it's a hard thing anyway when you're in love with the person to sit and look at them in their eye. We have this thing about it's embarrassing to do that because it's really looking at that person and seeing them for who they are. So it's kind of hard to do that. Yes, it's actually a great exercise for couples. When you're mad at each other, sit eye to eye.
Yeah.
sit eye to eye and really, really see the other
And like
person.
hold hands, and it's like I ain't even trying to hold his hand right.
Right,
Now. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
exactly,
He got cooties.
So, what made you start Bonnie's?
Bonnie Allure Beauty.
Tell me all about that.
Okay, so getting out of the military and being in the military since I was 19 years old. And prior to that, someone has always told me who I was and what I was supposed to do.
Okay.
Always. So not having that. And then, unless we're not going to sugarcoat it, when you're in the military and then you get out, they have you brainwashed into thinking you're not going to be anything without that component in your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to make it. How are you going to feed your kids? One of my relatives told me I was going to have to be in the welfare line. Lord. Anyway, there's nothing wrong if you have to, but it was just like the way that people speak to you becomes your inner voice when you don't know who you are.
Correct.
So there was a lot of that. I went to business school. I tried different schools out because, of course, they pay you to go to school. They give you, some time to figure out what you're going to do. But with me having disabilities, there's certain things that they weren't going to sign me up to do. Like, I wanted to be a criminal investigator just because of what happened to me in my last marriage. I wanted to get, I wanted to be a helping hand when it came to, like...
And she has the mind of a detective, real life.
I think every woman has that little detective in her.
He calls, what do you call me, McGruff the crime dog?
Yeah. She gonna get down to the bottom.
If there's an answer, she's going to find it.
But I feel like through experience in life, because I was in a relationship that grew me up so much, he lied so much, and I was so naive. Like, I don't feel like nothing gets past me for real right now. You know what I'm saying? And it just I can be thankful for that because it caused me to grow up and, like, I say part of it's discernment, and then I feel like part of it's experience. But what did you ask me? How did Bonnie's come along?
Right.
Okay, so I went to business school, got what I needed to get out of that, but I hated it. It was so boring. It was so boring. And then it's just like, okay, I have the money coming in. I can create a life that I love, and I did not understand what that meant or what that looked like because, like I said, trained thoughts. So I feel like everything that you learn that needs to be unlearned, you can unlearn it. You just got to be willing to unlearn it. So I went to cosmetology school right after that. And then I started getting around a group of women, the networking, the sisterhood that I started creating. I really asked God to, like, if they're not for me, what is it? Shape them up or ship them out.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised who leaves your life when your prayers are being answered. So I lost a lot of people that I thought were going to be constants in my life, but then it was replaced with something 2 or 3 times better. It's like evenly yoked things. I have an evenly yoked relationship. Now I have evenly yoked friendships, and all of these people coming out of the woodwork wanting to help me, wanting to inspire me, just wanting to be around me. And in me growing up and in the type of relationships that I've been in, I've always been the common denominator. So, of course, everything that you might have been told that wasn't good as a child sticks to you because it's like, I'm always the common denominator. I'm not worthy. I'm not, So I feel like in finding out who I was, I became very unapologetic about it. Along the way, I found out, like, I had PCOS and stuff, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Went to cosmetology school. I was like, I really want to make people feel good, women feel good, like where they are right now. And then, like I said, the networking with the different women and the sisterhoods that come behind it, and God are just placing those people in front of your life. Vakayla Pope, we did the Mini Millionaire Moguls, which is a nonprofit organization to teach today's youth to be the wealthiest generation of tomorrow. Just people, just people in different places. And then it's like, I'm around all these women and I don't have my own business. Like, what am I doing? I have all the resources, people that are willing to give me knowledge. And so that's pretty much how I was born. Just like me feeling insecure about myself, me finding myself, and then me wanting to share my story on how you can still feel incomplete or still feel like you're not worthy, but we're just going to pick up the pieces where you are and we're just going to keep building on that. So my slogan is be your own beauty goals. And I really mean that.
Okay.
So, yes.
So it's hair, it's skin. You have a eyeshadow
I have a
line
makeup
as well.
line, yes. and lashes. I have a clothing line, It Girl the Babs collection. I sell that online, www.houseofbabs.com, and it's available at Fly Girl Boutique. Shout out to Latricia Harrison. And I sell it in my shop. So yeah,
Okay.
I also do like lipo laser and body contouring as well.
Okay. So it came along because you were around some positive women who were doing some things and pouring into you.
Yes.
And it's very important to have a network of people who are around you, pouring into you and feeding positive and encouraging things to us. We get the negative all the time.
This is something I've never seen before, by the way. Like,
What?
as long as I've been alive 35 years. Prior to me meeting this woman, even in growing up in my sisterhood with my sisters, we were pitted against each other as children. And then you go into the military, women pitting against each other. You know what I'm saying? Pitting against each other. So that crab in a bucket mentality is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And to be in the presence of women who've shown me over the years that we can all be individual stars and there's enough room for everyone to eat. And just because I'm a star doesn't make your star dimmer. Like, that is powerful. And I just really love sisterhood. I hate triangulation. I hate women being pit against each other. I just hate it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
And it's unfortunate that we have, in high school, I was never the cliquish girl. Like, in high school, you was going to find me everywhere. I knew everybody in every circle. Yeah, I knew the football people, and I knew the cheerleaders, and I knew the goth, and I knew the nerds. I knew everybody because I never put myself in, you couldn't put me in one group. Oh, she's that. No, you couldn't do that because, number one, I love people. And I love hearing people's stories and understanding their background. So that part, I love it itself. But not being placed in a group and you're this thing, and this is how you act and this is the person that you are. No, we get to grow. We get to be different when we choose to be different. Those things. So
I feel like when I was coming up, I feel like it was always implanted in me. And through therapy, you figure out like the way that you talk to a child becomes their inner voice. And I was always told like I was going to be I'm the ugly sister. And I feel like I carried that with me even in my 20s and my 30s and stuff. And it's like, ain't nobody ever going to catch me slipping. I'm always going to look good. But now it's like, it's not out of that necessity. I just like looking good. Like, if I look better, I feel better. You know what I'm saying? But before it was like, I need to look all the time because I'm the ugly one. That small child, you know what I'm saying? And I just try to be like what I would have wanted when I was a child.
And that's traumatic.
Oh, there are stories, but we're not going to go there today.
Yeah, that's very traumatic to be told as a child, you're the ugly duckling or you're the black sheep, or even to say you're the black sheep of the family is putting you on the outside of the circle that you're supposed to be a part of. And what does that do to a child that feels like they're being seen as the outsider by everyone else instead of embraced, for their differences?
I read an African proverb that said that a child that doesn't feel the love from the village will burn the village down if it's warm.
Right.
And I feel like that was definitely me. But I got to the point where I didn't really care about being the black sheep. I just looked at everyone as sheep. Like, you're not even a leader. You don't think for yourself. You're just going with the general consensus. This isn't right. You feel the same way I do. But yet and still you're going. I looked at everyone else and I was like, oh, what a terrible place to not have a mind of your own.
And to just follow
You
blindly.
want to be accepted by everyone.
Yeah,
So you just follow blindly.
You can't be universally liked and brilliant at the same time.
Oh man. Yeah, it's no way. And the more popular you get, the more hate you get. Right?
It's balance. I see it. The way I see it is the same way the amount of people that's gonna love you and sing your praises
It's gonna
be
hate
some
you.
people you
Same amount of people
It's
that
like,
love
you
you.
don't even
Same
know
amount
why
of
you
people that
hate me. You're just a confused
Right.
admirer at this point. You watch everything I do.
you gonna either inspire somebody or you gonna trigger them.
Confused
Yes.
admirer.
And I think you hit it on the nail. Hit the head on the nail when you said you're either going to inspire somebody or you're going to trigger them because they're triggered because they're not, for whatever reason, they feel like they're not able to do what you're doing.
Right.
Or they feel like, man, I tried to do that, but they're succeeding. Or whatever the case may be that they have within themselves.
Right.
Now it becomes, I hate you, right? When really it isn't that they hate you. It's they hate the fact that they're unable to do, but they are able to do.
Right.
They're just not seeing it for themselves. So yes, absolutely. How has your friendship grown over time? Like from the beginning to now.
I feel like from the beginning, it was very, like, we was cool. We was kicking it. We was cool. But it was very lustful. I feel like what we got going on, like, transcends that. And I feel like before we went to therapy, you know, as you get older, can I share this?
Sure.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know that he knows what you're going to share. But
Listen. So as you get older, I guess you're not, like, as, like, lustful and you've been with each other for a while. And I was like, oh, you must not love me if we're not doing it as much, you know, and it was a lot. But I felt like that, but then it's just like, I understand, like, and he told me straight up, he was like,
I'm not
there's
25
nothing.
no more.
He was like, there's probably nothing you can do to make me, like, not, like, I love, it transcends. And I'm the first woman that he's actually said, I love you to, which was a red flag at the beginning for me. Because it's like, why haven't you built, you know, healthy, like, relationships that you actually said the words to? But now I'm like, oh, he was waiting. He was waiting for me.
it could be that he just
I took it serious. Like I
didn't
feel
feel-
like using that word is a serious thing.
Yes.
People just say it. You know
he
what I
hadn't
mean? Just to
found
be
anyone
in it.
worthy
Right.
of sharing that with.
Yeah.
We going with that.
Yeah.
We're not going to analyze that. We're going to leave that right there. We're going to go with that. So, how do y'all win together? Because a lot of times, like, I always try to stress that marriage is teamwork. So how do y'all, you know, win together? You both have different jobs. So you're not, you don't have a business in that sense together. So you support one another differently. But how do you do that? How do you celebrate your individual wins, but also how do you win together?
I feel like in every aspect of my business, the show has been involved. Even though the day-to-day procedures, no. But as far as putting my stuff together, putting my sink in my suite, I had this man working after he got off. You should have seen the look on his face. But he always, like, comes through for me. I don't have to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I can just see the look on his face when I've accomplished things. Like, it's like no jealousy. There's no, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's mine. Like, she did that. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel like we went together, because he's not no hater. And a lot of these men be hating when their woman is coming into something or whatever. Like, he's not a hater.
He's there for you.
He is there for me, and vice versa. Like, just how hard is that to be happy about somebody else winning?
If it's supposed to be a person, like, it's just, you want the best. If you say you want the best for them, and they start doing the best for that they can do, then how can you be mad? And then how I take it is, I try to remember the times when they were down. Remember the times where when she was worried, you know, when she felt like she didn't have a true purpose or you know what I mean, anything to do. You try to think about those times, or the times where we're struggling, you know what I mean? And you see them doing better, and it's like, how, like you said, how can we be mad? Like, we're progressing, like, and we're together. It's not like she's not supporting me. It's not like how she hasn't supported me and been there for me, you know, when I needed things or whatnot. So, you know what I mean? It's just
Reciprocity.
Yeah, reciprocity. Like, man,
I be feeling like this ain't that hard for real. Like, it's work, but it ain't that hard.
it's not hard. Like, it's just really, like I said, it's just commitment. Like, if you're really committed and you truly love the person, it's like unconditional love. Almost like where You know what I mean? I love you. I want the best for you. Regardless of
Right.
what someone else said, or regardless of your situation right now, like, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna get it better. And when we get better, we're gonna celebrate and be happy because
Right.
we know we put in the work, like, to get here. So
And I be feeling like people will be happy that you're doing well, but just as long as you're not doing better than them. And I'm like, how is that love? Like, I feel like there's a lot of incomplete people. Like you said earlier, your partners can't be everything to you. There's a lot of incomplete people, and I feel like trying to get to be whole with their partner instead of seeking outside, help or whatever that looks like for you to be more whole or whatever, so you can present better. Because I feel like in your mind, if you feel like your partner or you're feeling some type of way about it, like that's not love to me. That's not love, because I feel like when he wins, I win, and I'm pretty sure he feels the same way.
absolutely.
And that's what I was going to say too. It's like when my partner wins, I win too because they're happy. Right.
Yeah.
And I get to share in that happiness. But if they're happy, I don't have to worry about them moping around. I don't have to worry about them being sad or any of those things. They have they're living their purpose and they feel fulfilled. So I don't have to feel like I have to do something extra to make them feel fulfilled because they're doing it on their own.
Yeah, I feel like they're more willing to stay on the same page if they're fulfilled. Like, we got to stay on the same page. So whatever that looks like, if we feel like we starting to get a couple of pages behind, or just one band, one sound, like, if we feel like we start getting a couple, we're gonna nip it right there. Because I just don't want anything to grow, build anything past it, what it has to be.
Right. Right. And that's the way that we should all, kind of stay on top of. Like I said, this is your friend. And so at the end of the day, when we're thinking about it in friendship versus that's just my partner, right? We're partners, we're teammates. But when you think about it as just, you leave a lot of things out. But if you say, no, that's my friend, you're always going to take care of your friend. Right? You're going to stay up on the phone all night with your friend to make sure that they're okay, and whatever problem issue, you done heard the problem issue 55,000 times.
I'm not going to do that. Yeah, you got about 2-3 times, and then we got to be solution oriented, friend.
But you're still going to be there for them, and I think that if we start thinking more on the lines of, this is my friend and how would I treat my friend? Because a lot of times married couples don't even treat each other like friends.
I've been there.
They treat them like the enemy.
I've definitely been there. So I know what it takes and what it feels like. And I can go back and remember which moment, like, where I decided, like, I hate this man. You know what I'm saying? I can remember in my mind, like, I should have went this way, like, in my mind. But that's why I said I don't like building up no resentment. I don't want to not talk to him for a day. I don't want to give him the cold shoulder. I don't do what are some other things that women do? Withhold sex. I'm not trying to do none of that. I'm just trying to have a conversation so we can move on to the next thing.
Right, exactly. Okay, that is awesome. Let's see what else I'm like, y'all have answered all of the questions that I have. What are some common unhealthy behaviors that partners may need to unlearn? Because we talked about unlearning some things earlier. And sometimes we go into relationships and we got all of this baggage and we got all of these things from childhood. What are some of the things that you've had to unlearn in this relationship?
You're either going to trust them or you're not. That's the biggest thing. You're either going to trust him or you're not. I'm not trying to have a second job, worried about what he's doing. Why are these minutes not unaccounted for? Because things have happened to me before. And when uncertain situations happen, it feels like it's happening again. You're either going to trust him or you're not. And if you're going to trust him, lean into that trust and just let all of that go. I feel like that was the hardest thing for me. Unlearning how to speak with respect, even if you're pissed off with the person. Because I used to say anything out of my mouth. There are things that I've never said to him that I've said never, like, even, and never really even thought. And same with him, like, just a certain level of respect that needs to be learned again. That's one thing. And then basically the trust thing. You gonna
Okay.
trust them or not? I'm not about to have a job being a detective.
Right.
How did you learn how to trust?
I've just made the decision.
You just made the decision
Yeah,
that
I feel like people make things a little more I feel like a lot of the things that we experience or go through be like 10% of the actual problem, and then like 90% are human brains doing the computing. And I feel like if you lead with a more logical manner versus like highly emotional, you can come up with better decisions. But I just decided that I was going to trust him. It did take a while. We did go through it because it's like, I didn't do anything to you. Like,
And that took like transparency on my part.
okay.
And just transparency, consistency. So, there's no inconsistent action. So she's not having time to worry. Everything's lined up where I don't even have to think about him. And, get to a point to
Right.
where you don't even have to think about it because I know what he's doing. He does the same thing.
Right.
Kind of
Right.
like. I can trust him because I know how he's going to act in this situation. Just once you get to know a person, it's kind of like
So that
people are going to show you who they are.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's kind of trusting that. I know for me too, it was hyper independence.
me too.
Learning how to learning how to rely on someone. Because both of us are older kids. And we did take on some more responsibilities in the household than probably most older kids or children in general
Oldest kids.
could take. So, hyper independence, just feeling like you got to do everything. I got to do everything myself. She's got to do everything herself.
Right.
Not involving your partner when you feel like overwhelmed, but you feel like, I got to do it because you're just so used to everything being on you. So, definitely hyper independence, I'll say, was
something that you had to
I had to
unlearn.
unlearn for sure.
I had to
Wow.
unlearn like jumping to conclusions too. Like being if he acts this way, that means he doesn't love me anymore, or that. Oh, he did something different. That means that there's another woman. Like it was a lot. Like like that first year or 2 years. It's not that we weren't getting along. It's just that every time there was a hiccup, my mind just went straight to that because I didn't know. I didn't have an example or know a man that didn't cheat on his wife or cheat on his girlfriend or do the dirtiest things, or present as if they were nice and be a total monster on the inside, a whole monster factory. You know what I'm saying?
So what made you stay, although, these issues were coming up with trust and, these consistent issues with trust? Because some men are just walk away and say, this is too much for me. She has issues. I'm not about to go through this. I'm not about to sit here and she doesn't trust me.
In earlier times, those thoughts might have crossed my mind for sure, but it's just really when it's meant to be, and it boils down to I love her, and I want to work through it. You know what I mean? Obviously, there would have been a point to where enough was going to be enough, and we're going to have to do something different, or we going to have to go our separate ways, of course. But it never got to that level. It's just, to me, it's just an adjustment period. Like, it's going to take some time to adjust to somebody. Like, hey, we like each other, we like being around each other, but we've had separate lives for however many years up until the age we met each other. So there's just, like you said, a lot of things that we went through, a lot of experiences, and you're gonna encounter that in a relationship that's gonna come up, and you gotta kind of just roll with the punches, I guess.
I remember when we first got together, and I started like loving on him. He was like, "Do you have to touch me?" He was very like and cold in a sense. So I feel like we both had things that we had to like be adjusted to. I knew that he liked me. I knew that he cared for me because he showed as much, but he was very like unmoved one way or another. And I didn't realize
Or it felt that way.
It felt that way. But not understanding that he just was not he never had those type of emotions towards anything. So like he's always, you know what I'm saying, and within therapy finding out that he felt like he had to turn that emotional side of himself off. So that was a problem. Like I feel like within our first couple of years, but like I said, it was an adjustment period. I felt like he saw that I was trying. You know,
And
like,
that made him stick around a little bit more.
Yeah, because it's like it wasn't like she was like throwing accusations all around, and then there's no effort on her part. You know what I mean? Or she's not acknowledging my efforts to, you know what I mean, make her feel secure or whatever. It was, like I said, it was always an equal give and take. So that assisted with, you know, overcoming the hump and adjusting for sure.
And I feel like we would get into it about it like once every other month. It wasn't like an everyday or every other week thing too. But once every other month for someone that's not doing it is still a lot.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, feeling like you're always being accused. Yes.
Because it's still probably in the back of his mind. Like,
Right.
yeah.
I'm hard headed too, and she is. I'm probably more hard headed, but
So button heads that way. Well, this has been a great conversation on
Yes.
trust and overcoming situations. I feel like if someone is listening to this episode today, they're gonna understand, you know, sticking it in, right, and really sticking out issues that can be solved, right? Because we talked about
struggle love
and I was about to say we talked about domestic violence, we talked about being in relationships that are abusive, so we're not talking about being in situations where the things cannot be fixed, or you're in danger in some way. We're talking about working through our own issues. And I always tell people relationships are here as a mirror for us to see ourselves and what we're doing so we can be better. This is an opportunity for me to have a friend that's going to understand me and not judge me for being the person that I am and allowing me to grow to the person that I want to be.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So this has been a great conversation. Once again, tell us where we can find Bonnie.
Okay, so Bonnie Allure Beauty on all social media platforms. It Girl the Bab collection is also inside of Fly Girl Boutique. And www.houseofbabs.com is where you can find all of my merch. My lashes, my eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to have more makeup coming soon. Yeah, my whole beauty little empire, child. Like, come follow me. Come watch me grow.
Yes, all of the things. Come join your my circle.
My revolution.
Your sister circle. So one last thing. Tell us, I mean, people are out there listening.
Hold on.
Yes.
Boo.
What?
Talking about your new business. Hold
Oh
on,
yeah, well come on.
Speak up,
Master Plumber. Come on.
You're getting the mic. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't have a page for it yet, but New Paradigm Plumbing coming soon. I'm just getting everything situated. But if you need services, obviously Facebook Dashielle Moore, Dashielle Moore, and Instagram Dashielle Moore. You can message me any plumbing needs, new installations, renovations, service, any problems as far as plumbing I can take care of.
Okay.
Sure. Yes.
I love when entrepreneurs come on the show. It's just a whole thing. I love to promote them as well. So tell us one last thing, both of you. Tell us, like, people are out here and they're listening to this podcast and they're like, I see this couple, they have made it through some things in their relationship and they're just still going strong. So at the end of the day, if you had one thing to say to these couples out here, what would it be?
I feel like love yourself first. When you love yourself, you're able to give in abundance to other people. You're not looking for a deficit somewhere. You don't have a deficit, so you're not trying to pull something from someone else. You're not trying to, but if you love yourself first, unapologetically, feel like everything that you need will come in alignment.
Self-love is real love.
Yes. Yes.
You can't, if you can't properly love someone else or be open to it if you ain't loving yourself right, so.
And I just feel like everything is a grow. I feel like as long as you commit to growing together, whatever that may look like. And don't wait till it's too late. If y'all start seeing things a little shaky, go get help. Don't let your pride goes before a fall. Do not let your pride stop what is in front of you.
I love that. I love that. And I think that that is a good note to end our show today, because if it's nothing else that you get out of this episode, is that this couple did the work and they went and got help for the situation that they had, and they weren't afraid to do so. So no matter how we grew up, and like I said, being in the Black community, there's a stigma about getting outside help. But if you're listening to this today and you're in the Black community, just know that it is okay to get that outside help.
And then if you don't like the first person you meet, therapy is like courting, like all over again.
Yes.
Go find.
Because that's what people say. They like, well, the therapist did me wrong, or they made me. Listen, that's just like a doctor or something. All the doctors, let me tell you something. The C doctors graduated too. You know what I'm saying? Not all the doctors got A's. The C's graduated too.
Right.
So you got to find you a doctor, or you got to find you somebody that gels with that fits the both of you in your situation and can be that listening ear, and not,
I'm like, get rid of that instant gratification aspect that we have now. Like,
Put in the work.
Put in the work.
Like everything is going to be fixed with one session.
Oh my gosh! If I had $1 for every time I seen that on Facebook, stop the madness.
And with that, this was a lovely show. Thank you again for coming on.
For having us.
Absolutely. And you have been listening to the Dating Mechanic Show. We will see you next time.